Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace. And I was just reminded of something. Adam and I just recently had finally told one another about how we felt about something that went on in our neighborhood. I'm looking over there because somebody had somehow managed to get all the cows on one side of the near a fence, and he's taking video of it. Okay, and he's on the other side of the fence. Outside of the fence. Anyway, distractions all the time. But this was something that happened in our neighborhood, and it's been going on, or went on for years, and neither one of us told the other about it. Okay, which is kind of rare that we didn't say, this just wasn't right. And but we just recently did, and I was reminded of it because it seems like something along the same line is happening again. So, in the same people. Okay, my voice is going to go out. We had pollen so bad lately. I mean, all year round, but lately it's been terrible. Anyway, so back then we lived in a neighborhood that, our neighborhood people really didn't know one another. Some people, like one house, I kept seeing them, but they would park in their garage, okay? And, they get in the garage and out of their garage. Never really, the mother and the children never really came outside in the front yard. So I'd snoop in their backyard. They're all fenced in the backyards. So I never really saw her much. I would not be, still to this day, I would not be able to pick her out at all. And, but every once in a while, I would see her, and in her a minivan, I would see her two children, two girls. Okay, like you pass them on the street and you wave and stuff like that, but that's about it. And they're shaded, the windows are shaded, can't really see. You can't really get a good idea of what they look like. Okay, they're very private. And now the husband, he's kind of creepy. I've always found him creepy. And I guess he thinks he's the whole neighborhood watch. And just creepy. I've been really far from home, like say about 30 minutes, not really far, but say 30 minutes still. And the next thing I know, he drives up next to me or in front of me, or parks catty corner to me, way out when I'm sitting way out away from the store. Weird things like that. And another one, same kind of thing. And that was another thing that recently Adam and I talked about, and he said he did it to me too. Okay, now who is actually following us around? Really, seriously. Now Adam and I are two very different people. We look at the world very different ways, and all around we're from two different cultures. Even we grew up he grew up in a country across the globe from me, and this kind of thing, like I said, we never mention it to one another. It's kind of strange in itself. But I'm the kind that I can handle it, and the kind of thing. And I think I told him something. He probably just didn't listen. He hears and doesn't listen. But just I don't know. Okay, I don't know why we never really talked about it, sat down, talked about it, that kind of thing. Not sit down like we're sitting there at a meeting or anything, but it was just weird, plain and simple. And that's one of them. Another one is that he had a business, and they had. I was doing videos back then, so it's been within the past 10 years. His company, he owns at least one, remodeling, and they, we've had people from his company work on our house here and there, and one time they were in our house working for a long time. I think it was over a month, and then came back. I don't remember, but it was a long time, and I was usually at home by myself. And I would usually stay in the master bedroom, just, with TV, stay in there, and, just get out of all the noise and everything like that. And I have chemical allergies, so anything that they would use they were doing our floors to make them hardwood, anything would really set me off. And we even had to stay at one time in a hotel because it was so strong. The smell, the odor was just too strong. So, okay, now this was more like when around the time people in the neighborhood were young, like some were yuppies, some were muppies. I don't know what they call them now. Ruppies. They were retired. Yeah, but many of them were, not all of them. But we all kind of saw, like all the kids grew up, they became teenagers those years, the teenage years, and all that kind of stuff, And one house, the one that did work on our house, they were never right. They just were not. I mean, I know you're going to say, who are you to judge? Well, they broke a few laws, it seemed like. I mean, ordinances would be more like it. City ordinances and HOA, whatever you call those rules, or what contract, they made contract violations or whatever. And they would just do whatever they wanted to, and to them, everybody else was wrong except for them. That they could make all these noises, and they could, have their teenagers have a bunch of other teenagers here. No, that's not how it works. It does not work that way. And I know there was no turning there either, but there was no not turning there either. So, anyway, or maybe I could be wrong. Anyway, so where was I? So they talking about breaking the rules, and I'm breaking a rule, or was I breaking a rule? I found out another one I had a question on, and no, I was right. See, that one you can turn if it doesn't say. That one I was right too, I believe. But the other one I was right on too. This one, two people there's 4 ways, but one of the ways they don't go, they don't stop. So the ones facing one another on the other side, they do stop. And who goes first? So I was right from what I thought. I'll let you look it up where you live. Okay, now I come park here. You got to come park here too? Really, all of this room, you're going to have to come park right there. This is this herd mentality stuff. Herd mentality, really. Real life happens in the middle of my videos, which I need to stop making the videos, and get to work. But anyway, these, I'm going to move from here because that's rude. It's just rude. Somebody come and sit right there. Now, you see I moved? We'll move on up here. So I'll be rude to them, but now I'm going to be rude to them. Nope, nobody's in that one. Okay. So anyway, now watch the woman move closer to me. I've seen herd mentality like you wouldn't believe, seriously. People actually coming, they get right next to me. This is Texas. We like our wide open spaces. We have plenty of room for it, okay? Anyway, I know I'm not making myself sound good in this video at all. But it's too much out of context, really, what I'm going to say. But anyway, with the neighbors, I can make myself look really bad with this too. Now they have a bunch of teenagers, boys, girls. This one family, they have lots of cars. They had back then lots of cars, lots of different kind of vehicles, and even things like motorcycles. And in the middle of the night, I could say that it's not the kind of neighborhood. It's not, because it's regulated by the HOA, and people buy their houses there, move into there, knowing they have an HOA, knowing that the HOA says in the contract says this, you can't have, this noise, that noise. The city has the same kind of thing, noise ordinances and all this kind of stuff. Well, they're going to break every rule they can. And in the middle of the night, say 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear motorcycles, rum, 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 rum. Them doing their motorcycles in their front yard, in their backyard, in the road, wherever. They're going to be doing whatever they want to do. Okay, now these are people who are working in this neighborhood, and they have kids. Think about how disruptive that can be, that the kids go to school, the kids get woken up, middle of the night, you know, and then the adults have to get up, try to put the kids back. They're woken up in the middle of the night. Me, if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's going to take me hours before I go back to bed. Okay, and that's still true to this day. And, you know, that's just disruptive. That you're not supposed to have businesses run out of your house, you know, where people come to your house for purposes of the business. That's HOA, all these kinds of things. They're going to do it anyway. Both parents, even other people who live there, once they become teenagers and then young adults, their children, this kind of thing. They're going to do everything that they can against what you're supposed to. The HOA is on their backs all the time. You know, the city's not too happy. You see, and it's very disruptive having their kids have so many people over that we can't even get into our own yard, and just on and on. It just goes on and on. And we're not the only people in the neighborhood who are having to deal with this, okay? So, see, it's not just us, not just me, not just, you know, one family that we're having to worry about, we're concerned about. You know, they're not just doing it to us, okay? Gotta point that out. But you know, Adam and I just never said anything to one another. Maybe it was just so obvious. You know, we never really talked about it. You know, maybe a mention here and there, but over so many years, decades, yeah.